Usually I start these off with a song, a little karaoke. This time I'm going to do one for Chelsea, my beautiful wife. I dedicate this to you, Chelsea. You are watching an edited down version of a full Abandon Hope episode. If you want to see the full episode of this Abandon Hope or of other Abandon Hopes, please join the Pessimist Productions Patreon linked below. There's also all kinds of other stuff there that you can watch and enjoy, so check it out. Bite my tongue, bide my time, wearing a warning sign. Wait till the world is mine. Visions I vandalize, cold in my kingdom size, fell for these ocean eyes.
You see me in a crown, gonna run this nothing town. Watch and make them bow one by one by one, one by one by. You should see me in a crown. Silence is my favorite sound. Watch me make them bow one by one by one, one by one by one.
That's for you, baby. Can't hear the instrumental. Really? Should have been pretty loud. Oh, well. Yeah, there was supposed to be music, but whatever. So I went to the wine store. I got some wine. I probably could have gotten back sooner, but I figured you guys would want me to select good wines, right? Now, I don't know if I did a good job, but I did pick a couple. I picked it based on these descriptions they have on the back, you know? But wine descriptions are pretty much useless. It's always like, hints of oak and a nuttiness and all this, so... You know, this one is, I had a dream that the new meme online was just people posting pictures of Argentina. And so I'm like, what does it mean? What does it mean? It doesn't really mean anything. But I saw this was from Argentina. I was like, like in my dream. So I'm like, maybe I'm destined to drink this wine. It says, for many years, Argentine wines were almost exclusively blends of different grape varietals. By blending different grapes, we can create more complex and interesting wines. This blend of Mendoza's signature red grapes features red fruit aromas and lush, long mouthfeel. Something smells weird. From our estate, sustainably grown vineyards in the foothills of the Andes. Yes, product of Argentina. Then I got this one. Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner Ungrafted Red. I don't know what ungrafted means. I did like how the label is Ghost Runner, but underneath where they'd like written out the name of the wine and the price of the wine, whoever was in charge of that had written Ghost Rider. So it's like, okay. This one says, our Ghost Runner Red blend shows a dark ruby color with aromas of raspberry and ripe plum. Blackberry flavors and hints of spice show on the palate. This red blend, full of artful fruit, has an exotic mouthfeel and a lingering finish with hints of toasted oak. I've literally never found any of these descriptions to be accurate in my entire life. If the speech in the description doesn't look slurred, it's bad wine. Interesting theory. I'm going to let you guys know what an exotic mouthfeel is like. Oh, shit, that's exotic. That's exotic! Oh, God, I don't want to do this. All right. Well, you know, we got to do it. It's fucking abandon hope, right? Can't fucking abandon hope without abandoning hope.
The Taliban is now stronger than 85% of the world's armies. I want you to understand this. We're talking about radical Islamic extremists, people that are taught from the Quran that they
So I'm just going to not even fact check it. I'm just going to just go ahead and dismiss that as absolute bullshit. This is the same guy that said universe translated into one verse, which is fucking flat out not true. This is probably some statistic that his fucking fat dumbass got off of Facebook. Because there's no fucking way, dude. 85% of all armies? I mean, that is like, no. No fucking way, dude. Not true. Just flat out not true. Unless you're considering like any fucking group of like 2 or more dudes with a gun and army. Like, okay, I mean, I guess we could try to fact check it. Taliban stronger than 85% of armies. Let's see. Okay. No, I see a statistic that said Taliban controls 85% of Afghanistan. I literally see nothing that says that they are fucking stronger than 85% of the world's armies. Yeah, they don't have an air force. They don't have a navy. I mean, it's just fucking not true. Let's just say for a moment that were true. They're stronger than 85% of the world's militaries. Let's just say for a fucking the sake of argument that that is an actual fact, okay? Are they stronger than ours? Not even close. Not even fucking close, okay? We have the world's biggest fucking air force, the world's biggest fucking naval force, probably the biggest fucking army in general. The size and power of our armed forces is ludicrously fucking gigantic. We spend more than the next 10 countries fucking combined on military spending, and it shows. So they're absolutely, even if they were the fucking runner-up, even if they were the second most powerful, biggest army on Earth, they wouldn't even be fucking close. So who gives a shit?
Is if you leave military vehicles and if you leave machine guns, over 500,000, guys, over 500,000 pieces of weaponry. We're talking machine guns.
All right, so here is the figures here. We left 162,643 pieces of communications equipment. We left 75,898 vehicles. We left 599,690 weapons. We left 29,681 explosive ordnance disposal equipment. We left 16,191 intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance equipment. We left 208 aircraft. And the total amount of just things we left was 884,311. So, yeah, is that a fucking absolute debacle? Is that ridiculous? Yes. But do you think we didn't leave our latest and greatest shit there, okay? We left a bunch of fucking garbage shit that we were just like, it was just our used junk. Which, by the way, we already sell this crap to every country across the globe anyway. Now, am I saying that we should have left that stuff there? It should have never been brought there to fucking begin with. Because you know why? We never should have gone to Afghanistan to begin with. And if we did, it should have been, let's go in there and get Osama bin Laden. He's not here. Okay, well, let's get the fuck out then. I don't know how the mission to go get Osama bin Laden turned into the mission to fucking rule Afghanistan for 20 years. But it did. Ridiculously, absurdly. And now, people like this fat chunk of shit want us back there. Oh, it was a disgrace we left. Even though the fucking guy he supported, Donald Trump, is the one who wanted to get us out. Which, by the way, the Republicans were bragging about. We're going to get out of Afghanistan. We're going to get out of Afghanistan. As soon as it was a debacle, they removed all that shit from the GOP website. Oh, never mind. Now it's Biden's fault. Our plan that failed is Biden's fault.
Assault rifles, etc., etc. Over 500,000 left there. 500,000 people that are now armed. Think about this. We're talking about Islamic extremists, terrorists.
You're an extremist. You're a terrorist. I've seen your videos. I've literally seen you talk about like the armed revolution needs to rise up because like you didn't get a cheeseburger. Remember the last time I watched one of your videos, it was literally you being like, I can't remember the exact circumstances, but like a cheeseburger didn't go your way and you were like, this is why we need to take over the country. Armed insurrection, y'all. And the next thing we know, a bunch of fucking turds like you tried to do just that back on January 6th.
Now, what would have been normal was, as you fly away, you send in your F-16s and you bomb the snot out of all of those weapons, out of the planes, everything else. You guys realize that now?
Wait, what? Okay, wait. This is how, I mean, Josh Moronstein once again earning his fucking name. Just think about what he just fucking said. He's saying we should have gone there. We should have brought the weapons there. We should have fucking built the fake army there. But then, as soon as our fake army failed, we should have just bombed all the weapons we brought there. Hey, Josh, let's rewind it a little. If you're going to do this game of like what we should have done, why don't you go right back to the fucking beginning of the fucking problem and just admit that we never should have been there in the fucking first place.
The Taliban is now the third largest air force. Now, let me show you how this...
Okay. The Taliban is now the third largest air force. Okay. So we left them, once again, like 200 planes. Okay? We left 200 planes there. 200 aircraft. Old pieces of shit. Nothing fuck. We didn't leave no fucking F-13s or whatever the fuck. They have some planes that we left behind, which, by the way, most of those planes, the U.S. Troops took the vital components out of before they left. We left like 200 planes there, most of which had their vital components removed. And really, how many people associated with the Taliban even know how to fly those fucking planes, even if their fucking vital components weren't removed? Even if all those planes were operational and the Taliban had qualified pilots to fly each and every last one of them, they wouldn't even be close to cracking the top 10 largest air forces in the world. Literally number 10 on the list is Egypt with 1,054. 5 times the amount of fucking aircraft we left in Afghanistan. I want you to see this fucking plane that this dude is wringing his fucking hands about right now. Check this out. Look at this fucking thing. Look at it. And look at it. It's fucking... You see how it's been, like, ripped apart? It's a piece of shit. Like, we don't use these. You know what I mean? Like, give me a fucking break. This dude's trying to fucking scare us that this... Oh, my God, you guys. Oh, my God, dude. The Taliban now has the third largest air force in the world. No, they don't. No, they don't. And the planes they do have are shit. Erotic Whale donated $6.66. Says, I'm in the Air Force. We leave things unusable. Furthermore, Bush turned down the offer from the Taliban in October 2001 to hand over bin Laden for the U.S. to stop bombing Afghanistan. You can look these things up. Yeah, but looking things up is not what fucking Josh Feuerstein wants to do, okay? That's not what he's into. That's not his fucking shtick. He don't like that. What he likes to do is make shit the fuck up to trick a bunch of boomers that listen to his dumb ass on Facebook so that he can make them all riled up and upset over a bunch of made-up nonsense that doesn't even have any connection to reality.
Joe Biden literally armed the Taliban for Armageddon. Single-handedly, his action armed these godless, horrific heathens.
Wait, is this supposed to be a bad thing? Like, aren't you guys like gangbusters, full speed ahead? We love Armageddon. Isn't that you? Isn't that how you feel? So, like, are you saying Joe Biden did you motherfuckers a favor? Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're saying that you're like happy, or it seems like that's what you should be saying anyway.
They did not have this weaponry. They did not have the ability to go against Israel. The Bible says that Gog and Magog in the end times are going to come.
Didn't have... Okay, let me just see how Israel's doing. Oh, you can even do a compare countries. So let's do that. We can do a direct comparison. Israel versus Afghanistan. We can kind of see what the fuck is going on. Let's compare and contrast Israel Rank 20th out of 140. Afghanistan 75th out of 140. Population. The population of Afghanistan's higher, so that's good. Manpower, I guess they do have more manpower. Fit for service. More fit for service. Reaching military age. Yeah. I mean, they just have a higher population. Active personnel. 170,000 for Israel, 175,000 for Afghanistan. Reserve personnel, insanely higher for Israel. Doesn't seem like there's any reserve personnel. Like, if you're in there, they don't have reserves. Just like if you're in it, you're in it. So really, these numbers are pretty deceiving here because Israel actually has a lot more people in their military. Just not all, it's not all active duty at once. Paramilitary forces. They got some, you know, Afghanistan's got a pretty fucking sizable number there. Financials, this is where you start to see things kind of fall apart. Defense budget of Afghanistan, absolutely fucking dwarfed by the defense budget of Israel. External debt, Israel has a mountain of fucking debt, which means that's a lot more money to work with. No one's giving loans to fucking Afghanistan. Maybe China will. Foreign reserve rank, 22nd. Foreign reserve rank, 82. Purchasing power, insanely stronger for Israel. Air power, insanely stronger for Israel. Fighter aircraft, like literally Afghanistan has none, basically. They don't have any. Dedicated attack aircraft. I guess Afghanistan actually has more. Probably not as good, but at least more. Transports. Once again, they have more transports, probably because we left transports behind. Trainers. It doesn't look like Afghanistan actually has any. Special mission rank. I don't even know what that is, but Israel kicks their ass. Helicopters. I guess Afghanistan has more helicopters, but I guarantee they're not as good. Attack helicopters, they don't have any. Maybe they could shoot you from a helicopter, but Israel has 48 attack helicopters compared to 0. Land power, Israel fucking is pretty much just like, I don't know, Afghanistan has none of these. They have no tanks. No tanks whatsoever. Armored vehicles, they have a few, but not anything compared to Israel. Self-propelled artillery, they don't have any. Israel has 650. Towed artillery, they have 120. Israel has 300. Mobile rocket projectors, they have 100. Israel has 25. I'm sorry, Afghanistan has 25. Israel has 100. Naval power, I mean, they're completely landlocked. They have no naval fleet to speak of. Neither of them has any aircraft carriers. Neither of them has any helo or hello characters. Why do I keep saying characters? Submarines, Israel has 5. Afghanistan has none. They don't have any. Neither has any destroyers or frigates. Israel has 4 corvettes. I mean, like, there's no navy there. Now it's down to resources. Oil, Afghanistan, none. Israel, a shit ton. Oil consumption, Israel, a ton. Afghanistan, basically nothing. Reserves, Israel, a ton. Afghanistan, nothing. Israel obviously has a fucking hugely more land than tiny little Israel. You can go further and look into more details, but it's pretty clear just from like the infrastructure and technology and the gap between those and the wealth gap between those and just the military spending gap between those and the weapons gap between those. Afghanistan poses no fucking threat whatsoever to Israel. It poses absolutely no threat whatsoever to Israel. Maybe if it was like, hold on. Let's just look at the terrain now. The contention here by our buddy Josh Moronstein is that this is like Armageddon because now Afghanistan has a military to rival Israel. Well, here's Afghanistan. They're over here. Look, I'll make it bigger. Afghanistan is here, okay? Right here. So is the army of Afghanistan going to cross Iran, cross Iraq, cross either Jordan or Syria, and I think Lebanon too, to get to fucking Israel? How are they going to do it? Logistically, how would you do that? Especially when your country has no oil reserves, no infrastructure, no fucking money, dirt poor. You don't even have full control of your own country yet. The Taliban only has 85% of control of Afghanistan at this point. They're fighting fucking wars from within. There's a reason I dubbed this guy fucking Josh Moronstein, dude. He's literally one of the stupidest fucking people. He will talk out of his ass. He will make shit up. He will pull fucking facts and figures right out of his fucking asshole to justify whatever crazy nonsense he's fucking talking that day.
Against Israel. And that there's going to be a 200 million man army. Now, that would have been impossible.
200 million man army? What are you fucking talking about?
Okay, but I want you to think about this.
Okay.
Islam alone is approaching 2 billion people. If only 8 to 10% of those people are militarized, you have a 200 million man army.
No, you don't. Because all of those radical Islamic groups, wait, they're just going to all magically get together and get along all of a sudden? You realize how much infighting there is? Like, Taliban and ISIS are not friends just because, like, hey, we're both radical Islamic groups. Let's be friends with one another. They're bitter fucking enemies. Just because someone is Islamic and becomes radicalized does not mean that they're automatically an ally to every other radicalized Islamic person. Just like in America or with any other, this is like saying there's like 3 billion Christians in the world, so imagine if 10% of them became radicalized, there'd be an army of 300 million crazy Christian theocrats. But no, some are fucking Protestant, some are Catholic. They have different regional interests. They belong to different fucking affiliations. They have different tribal groups. It's not just a matter of like, they Islam and they radical, so they all fight as one force.
We live in exciting times, and if you were born into this time, it's because God has a plan for you, as long as you don't stay silent.
What's his plan for you? Be a fat moron that dispenses nonsense to idiots?
As long as you don't cower in a corner, God's going to use you to help.
You couldn't fit in a corner, you fat fuck.
Help facilitate end-time revival. But I want you to at least have your eyes open on what's going in the Middle East, because Russia and China, okay?
China. Russia and China. China? I heard China. Let me go back.
Bible. But I want you to at least have your eyes open on what's going in the Middle East, because Russia and China.
Did you guys hear China? I heard China. At least when I was calling fucking aircraft characters earlier, I caught myself, and fucking corrected myself, okay? It's the difference between me and you, Josh. A little smidgen of self-fucking awareness. Oh, and I guess, like, the scruples enough not to just outright lie to people knowingly.
I also want you to understand why it is that Joe Biden released Afghanistan to the Taliban. Okay, we already know that he has direct ties to China. It's no secret that they...
Shut up. You are such a fucking cretinous, fat fucking buffoon. God. People like you, so contemptual. I just...
funneled money to him. I mean, it's literally not a secret. He
Literally.
doesn't even try to hide it anymore. But...
yeah, Joe Biden works for China. He works for China. So fucking stupid.
He released Afghanistan because it is now one of the richest in minerals. The mineral rights.
It's now one of the richest in minerals. It's not, that didn't suddenly happen, okay? The minerals are not something that sprung up overnight. They've been there.
If not trillions of dollars in Afghanistan with all the minerals that they found. And China needs them. So what does China do? Pays off Joe. Joe withdraws the army.
How could China pay him off for the minerals if he already has control of the minerals? Like, wouldn't he just be like, fuck you, you're not paying me off, I'm going to just take these minerals for American businesses? The reason that we got out of Afghanistan is because it was just like a hugely costly endeavor, and we realized that it was never going to be stable. We realized that there was never going to come a point where we didn't have to have our fucking, like, fingers in the fucking pie at all times. We were never going to be able to leave the kitchen and let the fucking Afghanistan, government take over. It was just going to always collapse because because there was no fucking true loyalty to it. No one actually felt any sort of sense of like, yes, we love this government or whatever. TJ, do you worry showcasing this guy to your audience helps keep people like him relevant? Okay, well let me tell you a little secret. Oh, okay. I guess I'm wrong about this. He actually had his Facebook page deleted a while back, and he's actually had a lot of trouble recovering. He at one point had a huge Facebook page, but I guess at this point you're actually kind of right. It's a much smaller presence. He has a much smaller presence than he once had, so I guess not too many people missed it and came and resubscribed or anything. But whatever, if there's anybody out there in the world that could watch me literally just fact-checking this guy in real time and just demonstrating that what he's saying is just completely false, if they're so stupid that they can watch that and still be like, I'm interested in what this fat fuck has to say, then, I don't know. If they're that stupid, what can I even do? How can I help them?
China is giving the Taliban money. What's the Taliban going to do? They're not going to grow greener grass on their yard. They're nothing more than a bunch of Islamic ragheads over there that are have deserts.
Casual racism. They're a bunch of ragheads over there. Bunch of damn ragheads. As the Bible tells you, hate anyone who's different than you. Jesus said, if you smite me on one cheek, I will kill you. Jesus also said, hate your brother, for he is a piece of shit. I'm such a good Christian. You're such a good Christian, Josh. You just feel your love for your fellow man dripping out of every fucking pore of your nasty fucking face.
Or front yards. It's not like they're going to get better grass or no.
Better grass. You need to smoke some grass, you fucking dipshit.
They're going to spend it on weapons because idealistically, they want nothing more than to kill Americans, kill Jews, and kill Christians.
Yeah.
That's right.
No.
They openly scream death to America.
No, they don't. I mean, yeah, they do scream death to America, but that's not when you say they want nothing more than that, you're pretty much absurd. Like, first of all, in the Islamic world, death to is just like fuck. Like, you'd be driving in traffic, be like, fuck this traffic. They say, death to this traffic. So not every death to has the same oomph to it, okay? Sometimes when they say death to America, they literally want America to just explode into a fireball and die. But you know what? You would too if your fat ass lived there. If your fat ass was an Afghanistan fucking citizen, I guarantee you wouldn't have no rosy-ass picture of America, the country that came in, took over for fucking 20 years, and then left so that the Taliban could just fucking sweep right back over the lands, That's assuming that you didn't fucking die in one of our fucking botched bombings that killed way more innocent civilians than they did fucking terrorist targets. You're such a dipshit. But you know what? The fucking top priority of the Taliban is not destroying America. It's taking over Afghanistan and maintaining their control of that region. That's what's important to them. You know why? Because they struggle to do even that. Literally, they've been driven out of power numerous times and had to come back. Like, how many times has the Taliban, Russia did it, Russia came in, Taliban had to go hide. Russia leaves, Taliban comes back. America comes, Taliban runs away. America leaves, Taliban comes back. And we're supposed to be, oh no, the Taliban, they want nothing more than to destroy us. Bitch, that's number 10 or 11 on their list of shit to do. And you know what? They're having trouble with the fucking first thing.
Do you think it was on accident? Do you think that it was just an oversight?
No, I think it was the baffling stupidity of American foreign policy for the last, 50 years or more, where we think we can go in and take over other countries and nation build and do these forever wars. And I think this is the fucking end result of it. You see where it fucking leads. This is why, Really, we should fucking put an end to warfare to the greatest extent we possibly can. But if we are going to do warfare, it has to be done a lot more streamlined and smart than this shit.
He literally armed Islam for the Battle of Armageddon. And he used your tax dollars to do it.
Oh, we want to talk about tax dollars? You want to talk about the tax burden of fucking the war in Afghanistan? Cost of war in Afghanistan. 2.3 trillion. So far, okay? That's 2.4 trillion, 2.3 trillion so far. The U.S. has spent 5.8 trillion on the war in Afghanistan and other conflicts stemming from the September 11th attacks. We got 2.3 trillion spent on it so far, and you think the spending would be over, but no, because we paid for a lot of it on credit. We paid for a lot of it with debt. So, yeah, we're going to be paying that off for a long fucking time. It's going to cost literally fucking trillions of goddamn dollars to do that 20-year fucking war that amounted in this shit cost trillions of dollars, thousands of lives. And your stupid ass wants to stay because you're a fucking moron. You're the stupidest, fattest, ugliest, most fucking cringy, unfucking fathomably stupid fucking person that has ever existed on the face of this planet. You suck balls, you suck ass. And not in a good way.
The Bible's unfolding, ladies and gentlemen. It's the only book that proves itself true over and over and over and over again. You're talking about different prophetic people from Ezekiel.
Yeah, okay. So it devolves into just typical religious hucksterism from this point. So I guess we can move on. But first, before we totally move on from Josh, someone sent me this today. This is apparently a Facebook post by Josh. Not even going to comment on it. I'm just going to read it to you and let you guys have your own opinions. Dads, date your daughter. She needs to learn how a man should treat her. She needs to get your undivided attention. She needs you to teach her who she is, her worth, her value. Don't chase a dollar, fame, success, or fun. Don't trade it for moments you may miss with your most prized possession, her. No comment. So yesterday on Flash Fried, Paul said that Vosh said some pro-landlord shit, and someone sent it to me and was like, I really don't see how the take is pro-landlord, but, I'd like to hear your interpretation. So without further ado, let's watch Vaush and his supposedly pro-landlord take, and let's see if I think it's a pro-landlord take or not. I'm going to speed it up a smidgen.
The standard leftist answer to everything relating to, like, rent and land ownership is that landlords should be abolished or whatever, and I'm fine with the decommodification of housing. I do think there's something fundamentally useful about being able to live in a place without owning it, And if you don't own it, but you live there, somebody else owns it. I imagine that would be the state, but yeah, I think that's fine, I think that's important. And somebody needs to be able to, like, hold you accountable for that too, Because imagine a world where you can rent out housing from the state or whatever, but, like, there's no monetary penalty or cost associated. Like, couldn't people just fuck up houses right when they leave? Like, how fucked would that be? Like, imagine being scheduled to move into, like, some state housing and the last person there, like, just pissed all over everything on the way out. People do that, though? Yeah, but if people do that, it's like the property manager cleans it up, usually. You just arrest them? Well, sure, but arresting is even higher than a fine in terms of the negative invocation of state power. Yeah. There are just nice things about renting, Like, who the fuck wants to own land? Oh my god, the effort.
I'd like to own some land at this point.
I get it. There's good to owning land and everything, but there's also value in being able to shift around.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where Vosh is coming from at his age, because he's like 28, 29. I'm at the point now where I'm like, fuck landlords, fuck dealing with their bullshit. I want to own a place. I want to own a fucking piece of land and not have to be beholden to other people. I want to be able to do with it what I want to do with it. If I want to have goats, which I do, Like I have a dream of having like a little goat farm. So, you know, I don't want to do that on a piece of property I don't own, you know? I don't feel like I can paint my walls any color I want in a place I don't own. I don't feel like I can make changes to a place I don't own. And even if I did, who would benefit from it? Benefit the landlord, not me. So as far as it goes, I mean, I used to be a renter, and I guess I still am a renter. But I'm at the point in my life where I'm kind of like looking to get out of the whole rental thing. But I agree that it's a good thing to have a concept of property that you can, you know, you don't have to own. So you don't have that commitment to it. You can go from one place to another place, you know, if you want to. But I feel like most people who rent are not necessarily renting because of the great, amazing freedom that it gives them. I think they're renting because they're in a financial position where that's what they have to do. And, you know, it's just weird to me that there's like no ability to see beyond this paradigm. Now, this could be a case of long-term versus short-term sort of opinions, because it's like with me, if you ask me my opinion on something, my opinion is different depending on the time frame you're asking me within. Like if you're asking me like within the next 100 years, should we abolish landlords or land ownership as a concept? I think ultimately the concept of owning land, you know, we could come up with a different fucking paradigm for it, and still have, you know, we have the ability, like we could come up with something where people would have the freedom to move about if that was their nature, but they'd have the freedom to settle down and put down roots if that was their nature, without having to have these concepts of like, I own this space or I rent this space from some other person who owns this space, you know? And I don't know what that would be. Maybe it would be some sort of like thing where land is all mutually owned by the people and then administrated by the government. Maybe it'd be that land is all owned outright by the government. Maybe land is owned by like, you know, cooperatives, and then, you know, it's appropriated based on, you know, whatever metric. You know, there's different fucking ways it can be arranged societally, but a lot of those fucking ways are things that are ultimately kind of like far-flung future shit that's not going to happen in our lifetimes. So if you're talking about this current paradigm, you know, like right now, then I guess that you have to have some form of like land ownership. And I want to own land myself, but I think there's better ways to do it. I hope he's going to touch on that at some point and not just be like, oh no, in my fucking ultimate view of reality, there's still landlords. Because, you know, I don't think that if I'm like designing society from the ground up, I don't think I'm creating that class of people.
Like, imagine if you moved fairly often, like every 3 years, and every time you'd have to like find a person to sell the house to. Weird stuff, yeah. I don't know about that. But does having the ability to find someone for damaging public property presuppose rent? Well, there has to be some way of enforcing like a responsible rent taking, you know? Because what you don't want is people being able to just flippantly spread out. Like, I'll put it one way, you know? Like, imagine if just like everyone who wanted a solo apartment could get one. You'd run out of space in the cities, like immediately. If everyone who wanted to live in the cities could live in the cities, and everyone who wanted to live solo could live solo, there was zero chance of cities being able to house all those people. So how do you decide who goes where? Do you have public lotteries? I mean, eventually you're going to get to some way of dealing with that scarcity, you know? Just make more cities? Okay, yeah, just make more cities. I know, but like, for right now, I mean...
Yeah, so this is another... I mean, the thing that he's saying, like, the for right now thing kind of shows me that he's talking about, you know, a very immediate sort of time scale. On a longer time scale, I don't think that it's really that big of a deal. And I really don't think the solution is more cities. I think the solution is less people. We don't need endless amounts of people and giant, you know, we don't need the city to just keep expanding and keep expanding and keep expanding. I think we need to fucking bring the levels of humanity under control. There's way too many of us. We live on a planet of finite resources. We have an economy that's based on perpetual growth. It's not a sustainable state of affairs. So I think that bringing that population down fucking hugely important. I'm not saying we should have no people. I like human beings. I like society. I like goods and services and shit. But, you know, we don't need as many people as we got at this point. Like, let's let nature have some, you know?
To be fair to landlords, some tenants are just pieces of shit with no respect to the property. I don't think you need to be fair to landlords to say that, yeah. But yeah, a lot of people take horrible fucking care of their houses. Most people would not trash their home on purpose, paying rent or not. Most people, yeah, but a statistically significant number of people would probably tear their house apart if there weren't for security deposits. Some people are just...
I mean, people tear their house apart when they're mad at their landlord because their landlord is evicting them. When people destroy houses, it's because they're pissed that their landlord has fucked them over. You know, whether that's according to their perception or that's according to like reality. Most people do not just destroy their house for fun. Like, I no longer live here, so I destroy it. That's a pretty fucking small sliver of people. And I feel like there's other ways to socially disincentivize that kind of behavior other than, you know, a security deposit or whatever, which we already know that a lot of landlords, even if you return the home in perfect condition, they'll figure out some way to keep at least part of your security deposit. Some people just live nasty, though. That's very true, Chelsea. There are people who they're not intending to destroy their living space, but they just are disgusting slobs that destroy it de facto. And once again, I think that there's ways we could disincentivize those people. So if we were talking about like all land being communally owned, but then certain land being allocated to certain people based on their needs or even just desires, then, you know, obviously, if it came time for them to leave that land for whatever reason, either the needs of the community change or the desires of that person change or whatever the fuck, if they leave it in a terrible fucking state, then there could be some sort of social penalty for that. Low-key TJ slam by Chelsea. What the no. Chelsea, no. Chelsea is not saying that I destroy fucking shit and I'm nasty, okay? I don't think that's what she's saying anyway. I'm not the cleanliest motherfucker on earth, but, like, you know, I feel like I take reasonably good care of shit.
This is how I feel about anarchists and prison abolition. Well, what about the people who are pieces of shit? And they're like, well, in an anarchist society with proper reformative justice, nobody would be pieces of shit. And I'm like, well, some people would still be pieces of shit. Maybe fewer would be, but some would be.
I mean, a lot less would be. And also, like, the definition of who's a piece of shit within the confines of our current fucking society is, you know, pretty, I mean, like, a lot of people go to prison, it's like, well, you know, you wrote a bad check to feed your family or whatever, you know, you stole a fucking car stereo because your baby's fucking got no depends or whatever. That's not a piece of shit. That's just someone who's fucking desperate. Someone who's addicted to drugs. It's not a piece of shit. That's a person fucking doing what they want with their own body. And even if they do have a problem, it's a medical issue. It's not a fucking criminal issue. I'm sure Vosh would agree with me on these takes, by the way. You know, the real pieces of shit are like murderers, but even a lot of murderers, they're not killing because they're fucking, you know, I'm the Trinity killer and I just feel this crazed compulsion of fucking murder, you know? A lot of people are murderers because very pragmatic fucking reasons. You know, I'm in a gang and this motherfucker's on my territory and, you know, we're not able to bring our disputes to before any sort of like above board arbitrator. So the way we handle this is we shoot that motherfucker or he shoots us. So even a lot of murder is very pragmatically done. And a lot of the fucking people who are, you know, sick, twisted serial killers and shit, they're doing that because they didn't get proper fucking, you know, medical treatment. You know, the signs of their mental illness was not fucking properly identified. Or, you know, in the case of someone like Jeffrey Dahmer, you are watching an edited down version of a full Abandon Hope episode. If you want to see the full episode of this Abandon Hope or of other Abandon Hopes, please join the Pessimist Productions Patreon linked below. There's also all kinds of other stuff there that you can watch and enjoy, so check it out. The pain of being a closeted homosexual in a society that fucking just, like, did not accept him, drove him to murder. There's so many people who are just, you know, they lash out against society or they kill for very practical reasons or They kill because they're just like sociopaths who are put in a position where it's like, oh, I see an opportunity to advance myself by killing or whatever. The people who are like genuinely sick murderers, like I feel like they have mental health issues. Like there's basically 3 reasons people kill, right? They kill for anger. They kill because someone has pissed them off to the point where they're just like, fuck you. You know, bar fight. You know, that motherfucker talks shit about my wife, so I beat him to death. I came home and found my wife cheating, so I beat them both to death, or I shot them both. Or I got cut off by this motherfucker in traffic and I just lost my fucking shit and I had a bad day and I just shot him. Anger kills. Heat of the moment, passion kill. That person's not necessarily a piece of shit. Maybe they're just a fucking hothead that went too fucking far. Then you got pragmatic kills like I killed my wife for the insurance money. Or, you know, I'm a gangster and I killed another gangster because they were muscling in on my territory. And that's probably the vast majority of murders, by the way, is that kind of shit. Gang killings and stuff. And then there's compulsive killers. People who kill because they're, you know, fucked up and they just feel like some dark sort of, you know. And I feel like there are things that society could do across the board to minimize all that. And we don't do them. We'd rather deal with the aftermath. And as a result of us dealing primarily with the aftermath instead of the underlying root causes, a lot of people die that don't need to die. So, yeah, I feel like even when you look at like the most heinous crimes, the murderers, the rapists, the stuff like that, you know, there's a lot of things we could be doing socially that could, you know, minimize that. And this is proven by, you know, like our rates here in America of these crimes are higher than in other countries that have different attitudes. And, you know, that means to me that there is some sort of ultimate attitude out there. There is some sort of ultimate configuration whereby that just either doesn't happen or it's such an anomaly that it's like almost not worth mentioning. But obviously we don't have the perfect formula for utopia yet. But the amount of people who should be in prison is, to me, 0. It's like, oh, well, you prison abolitionists are you're so naive and this and that. But like, really, like a lot of offenses could result in a fine or some sort of other social punishment rather than imprisonment. The people who need to be locked up for the safety of like society, most of them probably belong in like mental institutions rather than prisons. The few that belong in prison because, you know, if there is like any sort of form of prison that like still necessarily has to happen, it should be like geared towards rehabilitation. And in the few instances where like there's just people who are too far gone to even be rehabilitated, they should be locked up humanely. They should be locked up in the most humane conditions possible. Obviously, you don't want to make it paradise where they're incentivized to go in there. But like, you know, you give them an existence that's, you know, not like an existence of sheer misery, but they're deprived of their freedom. And they're cloistered away and quarantined from society like you would a virus or something. And I guess that's a form of prison. So I guess I'm not really a true prison abolitionist. But, you know, I believe, you know, imprison the fewest amount of people you possibly can and deal with the underlying root causes of these kind of problems instead. Well, maybe true Vosh's argument still, what do we do with the people who genuine antisocial behavior? I mean, like, not all antisocial behavior requires imprisonment. And no antisocial behavior that I can think of is actually rehabilitative towards those kind of people, at least not in this country. So, yeah, we need like a much more rehabilitative justice system. And, yeah, murder actually has the lowest recidivism rate of almost any crime. Most people who murder do not go out and murder again. It seems like we should fucking minimize that. But I guess, you know, ultimately I can't really see a scenario wherein we could eliminate it. But I think if I could, I wouldn't endorse it. You know, obviously you don't want like a bunch of fucking sickos and murderers out there fucking raping and killing people. But, you know, any rational way you could avoid that sort of scenario is probably a good thing.
It feels like the best that we can do is dismantle the state and maintain some basic governmental apparatuses that still have ways of like correcting bad social behavior. You think there won't be like serial rapists in an anarchist future? Yeah, of course there will be, you know? There's just no way around the existence of these people. The best thing that you can do is minimize their existence, and then when they do their own shit, you capture them as quickly as you can and reform them as effectively as possible. That's always the best thing that you can do, you know? It's always the best way of handling it.
Yeah, and there are certain people who are probably beyond reform. I mean, like, you're not going to, like, we've turned the son of Sam into a model citizen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. I used to be the Zodiac killer, but now I love people and I pet puppy dog. Like, it's just not going to work. But, yeah, most of them can be reformed.
In a future anarchist society, if a person wants to be a fascist in their head, that's fine. As long as they are kind to those around them and don't, like, do bad stuff, then whatever. Reeducation camps are really, really scary, though, because who, like, decides what the curriculum is? That's pretty fucked, right? Like, I'm okay with society deciding you shouldn't murder people, you shouldn't rape people. That's a series of processes I'm okay with, like, figuring out. But once society starts deciding what ideas are acceptable, you're, like, going down a really, really bad slope. And by ideas, I mean, like, ideas in your head, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if you want to go down that road, yeah, you have to acknowledge that effectively, right now, modern-day prisons are re-education camps. You think they aren't, like, trying to instill certain values in people who are in prison now?
I mean, really, prisons now are more like a fucking punitive, like, you will suffer now for you have done wrong. And really, like, the curriculum you learn, it's like prison is crime college at this point. You just go in with a bunch of other criminals and learn the tricks of the fucking criminal trade. You know, that's my impression of it anyway. I've never actually been to prison, but, you know, my dad was in prison, and I've known other people who've been to prison, and they tell me, you know, it's like there's no real reform going on in the prisons. It's you know, you put a lot of times you end up putting someone in prison for a minor crime, and then they learn how to commit more serious crimes from the hard motherfuckers that are in prison. So that's not a fucking result that's desirable.
Also, have you seen how some people, like, keep their cars? Yuck. Oh my god. Can't trust those motherfuckers. Vosh, are you a Yimby? Yes. Zizek says he's 100% okay with having an obligation before you get to access free society. Yeah, like obligations like being able to follow laws, like don't murder people. I'm fine with that. Rights come with responsibilities, after all. If you have a right to certain things, that means you have a responsibility to protect the rights of other people to have those same things. If you fight against that, then, I mean, I'm okay with that, yeah.
I feel like that's pretty fair. I don't know what the problem is with that standard.
You lose the damage deposit if you mess with the house too much? Well, yeah, that's why people try not to. However, landlords are fucking assholes when it comes to assessing damage to the places. I have 2 friends right now who are currently settling lawsuits with former landlords because they got their entire security deposit revoked for pinholes in the drywall. Like thumbtacks. Like that, you know? Entire security deposit. Like,
yeah, I feel like you'd be way better off just being like, fuck landlords. The second we can get rid of them, the better. But, you know, for now, it seems like there's really not a pragmatic way of, like, doing that quickly because of the way we view land ownership. You know, so I'd say, like, more protections in the meantime, but not, you know, like, and then, like, with an eye towards eliminating them at some point in the future when we come up with a fucking different means of distributing resources and living spaces to people. But, like, to me, the big problem with that is right now there's just way too many fucking people. We're overpopulated as a planet. There's entirely too many people with, you know, a ton of superfluous people who are just, like, pretty much useless. Sing Time Keeps on Slipping by the Steve Miller Band for $1.50. You expect me to sing a fucking song like that for $1.50, you son of a bitch? That ain't enough. All right, I'll do it. I don't even know the song that well, so it's going to be horrible. So anyway, I don't really see this as a pro-landlord video. I think that was a exaggeration on Paul's part. But we all know he's got a little VDS, right? So, whatever. Okay, so here's the thing. I agree with what Vosh is saying, but I think I disagree with how he's saying it. And I feel like he's coming at it from the wrong perspective. Like, I feel like he's coming at it from the wrong end of the dilemma. See, the way he's phrasing it is like, well, you know, I mean, it's better to have this, blah, blah, blah. I think that really the problem is that, like, he's showing people what he believes in an immediate sense, but he's not showing them the bigger picture of his fucking ideology. Overpopulation is a myth. Shut up. No, it's not. Don't give me that shit. Overpopulation being a myth is a myth. If we evenly distribute resources, we can support billions more. You're so stupid. For what time period, dipshit? You think the resources of this planet are just endless, don't you? You think you can endlessly exploit and take and take and take, and it's just never gonna run out. The cookie jar is infinite. You're like the fucking stupid rat in the house that's like, wow, there's plenty of food in the pantry for 1 million rats. Yeah, for how long, stupid ass? Anyway, landlords suck, and you know, there should probably be stronger admonition in this video, but like, if you really listen to what he's saying, I don't really think it's all that disagreeable. Maybe if I had some like really extremist, weird point of view of like, let's eliminate landlords tomorrow, but that would be disastrous. Like, you can't just redefine the human relationship to property and property rights overnight. So, you know, anyway. Yeah, that's the real fucking take here, is that Paul and Vosh are both wrong and I'm right, because I'm fucking smarter. I don't know this song. I mean, I kind of know it. Tick tock, tick tock, top ta-da. Does he really say that? Tick tock, tick tick tock, ta-da. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Yeah. Fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. Fly like an eagle till I'm free. Oh Lord, through the revolution. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Yeah. Yes, time keeps on slipping, 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 slipping into the future. You fucking bitch. Time, it keeps on slipping into the future, baby. Time keeps on slipping, baby, into the future today.
There's a term that's become popular on social media called main character syndrome. This describes people who imagine themselves to be the protagonists, the leads, and their lives to be some sort of cinematic feature film in which they are the star. You could really just use the term narcissist here because it has basically the same meaning, except that main character syndrome is helpful because it captures the way that so many people today tend to not only place themselves at the center of the universe, but also fictionalize the universe at the same time. We could take this main character phenomenon and relate it back to the collapse of our societal institutions, and there's probably no institution that suffers more from this problem than the education system. The problem in education today, well, one of the great many problems, is not just that so many teachers are intensely ideological, but that they're also intensely self-centered, which leads them to believe that it can never be inappropriate for them to indoctrinate their students. After all, the class they're teaching is really all about them. Everything's about them. They are the subject. They've been hired to teach history or algebra or English literature or whatever, but their real job, as far as they're concerned, is to shape the students into little versions of themselves. And all of this explains the recent trend of teachers coming out to their students during class.
So, so far, a lot of fucking bullshit. So, our institutions are not crumbling because people have become too narcissistic. First of all, our institutions are crumbling because they're not properly maintained, funded, or organized. You know, leadership has become incompetent, not because it's, you know, not because of necessarily narcissism so much as just like not knowing how to fucking properly arrange social structures and really over beholdenness to traditional values. We're still stuck too much in the past. We're not willing to fucking adapt as times change. And so a lot of times we're dealing with a combination of antiquated social mores and, you know, ever fucking being outpaced by technology. And, you know, social progress doesn't seem to be able to keep up with technological progress. So there's a problem there. Also, most of these institutions have always struggled to be coherent and successful. Like, you know, you go back to the education system 50 years ago and you're still going to find problems. You're not going to find that it's perfect, right? This is the same guy, he'd probably fucking say that, like, school integration is narcissistic because these blacks only think about themselves as they disrupt the white kids' education by insisting upon their presence. You know, this is just some, narrow-minded, idiotic, conservative justification for why things are bad. But, honestly, a lot of these conservatives are also the same people who endorse homeschooling and shit. Why? Because they're afraid of their kids actually getting out there and being molded by the teachers. You hear the fear in his, these teachers, they're all trying to mold the kids into little versions themselves, when we all know they should be little versions of you, their parents, right? So you should be the one indoctrinating your kids, not some teacher somewhere who you don't even whatever. You don't know if that teacher shares your values. Your kid's being exposed to all kinds of different values that, are scary to us. So it's basically just he wants these kids to exist in an ideological bubble, and the fact that they're being subjected to different points of view is, scary to him and his fucking audience, and that's what's going on here. This guy has literally rented a house in Virginia so he could attend a school board meeting and complain about trans issues. I know. This dude, by the way, that was another thing I want to point out. This whole main character syndrome, Matt Walsh, there's few dudes on the face of this planet more up his own ass than this guy. If this guy is talking about main character syndrome, which I've never heard of until now, yeah, dude. First of all, everyone is the main character in their own lives. The only thoughts and opinions you can hear are your own. The only feelings that you feel are your own. So yeah, everyone is the main character in their own story. No shit. That's not some weird modern phenomenon. That's literally always.
Non-binary teacher talking about her experiences coming out to her students, and she's talking about them in response to a question from another teacher who is also non-binary, and here's what she says.
You can be reasonably assured that you are safe being out on your campus, then do it. Before coming out as non-binary, I would come out to my students every October on National Coming Out Day. I would use that as an opportunity for my students to learn how to receive somebody coming out to them in case that had never happened to them before. We used it as a way to talk to each other about empathy, about connection, about trust. It ended up being a wonderful...
What a monster. What a fucking monster, dude. Empathy and trust. Not on my watch, bitch. Not on my fucking watch. Really? Okay, when you start to look at a person who's hey, I come out to my students and it's an opportunity to teach them about empathy and trust and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then your reaction to that is ah! Maybe you're the bad guy at that point. I don't know. Maybe you're the piece of shit. You know what I mean? Maybe you're the one who's fucked up at that point.
For some students, just the knowledge that a queer adult exists within their world is hugely impactful. You don't really have to do anything other than be visible for these students to feel safer.
Monster. Terrible person. I can't believe it. She's indoctrinating these poor kids. Empathy? Next thing we know, they'll be empathizing with ISIS.
And more accepted and more at home when they're on campus. It does so much for students who don't have that in other places in their lives. For that reason, my classroom is one of the gayest places probably on the planet. Everything is completely covered in rainbows. I've got flags everywhere. I've got queer literature because I want every student that I have
trying to brainwash the boys into sucking dick, trying to brainwash the girls into chowing down for a 3-course clam dinner. Monster.
I introduced myself this year with my pronouns immediately. It was one of the first things that students learned about me.
Somehow the most irritating part of that was still the word impactful. Just an awful word.
Yeah, that word, man, drives me nuts. Impactful. Ugh. How dare you? How dare you say that word?
That's beside the point. The point is that this pathologically self-absorbed narcissist enjoys the attention and self-congratulation of coming out so much that she does it every year. She has, by her own admission, turned her entire classroom into a temple to herself. The only thing that's missing is the incense.
Wow, I can't believe that a teacher's classroom would somehow reflect their own personality. What a new thing. It's never happened before. It's fucking uniquely unique to this time frame. Dude, I had teachers all throughout my fucking school years, right? My teachers, I didn't even know what their personalities were like. I didn't even know. Because the teachers kept their personalities to themselves. Back in those days, every classroom was just a barren fucking plain walls, no decorations, no personalities. All right, children, it is time to do your studies. Turn to page 17 of the textbook now. give me a break. Like, yeah, teachers have personalities. You know why? Because they're fucking human beings. They're people. Part of being you don't fucking renounce your fucking humanity when you fucking become a teacher.
Every day in her classroom, it is a chance for all of her students to join her in worshiping herself. It is a celebration.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's totally what it was about, dude. You nailed it. The fact that she's proud to be LGBT basically just means that her fucking classroom is a shrine to that, and that's all anything is ever focused on. When they do math in the class, it's gay math. You know what I mean? I'm going to teach you kids about trans math. This is a 2, but it really identifies as a 7, so.
Of her own sexual proclivities. And she doesn't feel weird about inviting kids to take part in that celebration, or forcing them to, in fact.
Sexual proclivities. Once again, like, oh yeah, it's perversifying it, right? Like, yeah, the fact, like, if a fucking straight teacher was like, you know, put a picture of his wife on his desk, you know, and was like, you know, this is my beautiful wife. And he talked to the kids like, yeah, I love my wife. And my wife was saying to me the other day, blah, blah, blah. Tell the kids a cute little anecdote about married life or something. Would this motherfucker be like, they're forcing the straight agenda down the kids' fucking throats? No. Because you know what? Just talking about the fact that you're interested in people of the same sex, or that you identify a certain way, is not fucking, like, that's like a far cry from getting into like the like, if this teacher was showing up and be like, you know, kids, the other day I shoved a fucking 10-inch dildo up my ass while my, you know, gender queer lover fucking ate my pussy. Like, then maybe you'd have some kind of fucking thing that's resembling a point. But since that didn't happen, you don't.
What subject could be more pressing than the subject of herself? That was also the approach of the teacher in the next clip, who recorded a video.
It's amazing how you were able to fucking figure out that much about how she runs her classroom just from hearing her talk for a minute. Like, that's crazy. It's amazing how you're able to infer so fucking much from so fucking little.
Sharing her thoughts after having just come out to her 6th grade students. It was important that the 6th graders be told, you know, who she likes to sleep with. They really needed to know that information about their teacher's sexual behavior, so she was sure to.
It's not just sexual behavior, you stupid fuck. Like, let me ask you this. Is your relationship to your wife, assuming you have one, assuming there's some poor woman out there that takes your fucking dick inside of her, is it all about sex for you two? Or, like, is there other stuff involved? Is there, like, romance? Is there companionship and camaraderie? I mean, there's probably not with you, because you're clearly a barren wasteland incapable of normal human feelings. But, you know, trust me, for most fucking people that are in, like, heterosexual relationships, it's more than just fucking. They do more than just fucking rub genitals together. They go shopping together, and they watch TV together, and they talk about, wow, that was a cool show. Maybe they have hobbies they share. Maybe they fucking, you know, go eat dinner together and stuff. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that a couple does that's not fucking, dipshit.
So I just came out to my students. I've been wanting to do this.
Yeah, this seems like a cool... this is, like, totally awesome to, like, put this person fucking under, like, the spotlight and fucking attack them and stuff, because they really seem like, you know, that's what they need. Really seem like, you know, it's not like an emotionally sensitive, fucking vulnerable time for them, so you go ahead and just, like, you know, shit on them. That's cool. You're a cool guy, Matt Walsh. If I ever see you in public, I'm gonna fucking shake your fucking hand. I'm gonna reach right out and grab your hand. I'm gonna fucking give it a nice firm shake. I think you're a real swell motherfucker. I'm gonna give you a clap on the back too. I'm gonna even give you a big ol' hug and a kiss. I hope we get to meet someday so I can fucking smile in your face.
I had these kids in 4th grade, and now I have them in 6th, and I'm sending them to middle school, and I love these kids so much, and I trust them, and they make me feel safe, and I know they love me, and it just felt right, and I did it, and it was so beautiful. They had so many questions, which I loved. They wanted to learn, and they wanted to learn about me, and they were so eager, and a few of them clapped, which was so precious.
So you notice how this was a spontaneous and emotional video revealing her true feelings, and yet she took the time to edit and add the inspirational soundtrack in the background.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. If you edit something, it just shows it's all artifice, dude. So what about the fact that you're coming to us with a fucking Matt Walsh Show logo in the corner and a fucking set, you know? And that you do this for a living. Like, I guess that you're just saying everything you say is suspect too, huh? Okay.
I mean, it's hard to think of a better example of main character syndrome than that. Notice also how she says that they make...
Can you believe this bitch thinks she's the main character when clearly I'm the main character? I mean, it's the Matt Walsh Show, for fuck's sake.
Me feel safe. That's an adult woman, a teacher, referring to the 11-year-olds in her classroom. And she says that they wanted to learn about me.
Wait, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? She feels safe around her students? Is that like a bad thing? Like what?
Do we send kids to school so that they can learn about their teachers? As far as these teachers are concerned, the answer is yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's every day in class. She just shows up every single day, and it's just like, all right, kids. So we're going to talk today's, we're going to do a pop quiz on the movie I watched last night. Yeah, I watched a movie last night, and I want you guys, I'm going to tell you about it, and then there's going to be a quiz, and you're going to you better report back the information accurately. Also, I'm going to do this little quiz like, what's my favorite color? Do you know, Billy? What's my favorite color, Billy? Red, you flunk. You're out of this class. You fail, Mrs. Jenkins 101. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, the sad shit is the 11-year-olds have more empathy than a fucking soulless hack like Matt Walsh. I love how as he's talking about all this, like, oh, they're so obsessed with themselves. This little Matt Walsh Show logo keeps popping up in the corner. They're obsessed with themselves. They just think it's all about them. Tune in for more of the Matt Walsh Show later.
See, they see themselves as defined by their sex lives, and they see the world as revolving.
No, you do. You're the one who sees that, you fuckwit.
Revolving around themselves, which means that the world revolves around their sex lives. This mentality makes for dysfunctional people.
You're a giant sack of shit, and you deserve to.
People in the education system, whatever their sexual orientation, it makes for a dysfunctional education system.
No, it doesn't. You're stupid.
And that is...
You've made an issue out of nothing. You're a dumb fuck. I hate you so much. Actually, I love you, and I want to... But I got to admit, at one point in my life, I did defend you, Matt Walsh. Turns out once upon a time, I did defend Matt Walsh from criticism. So let's take a look at that.
Today on the internet, feminists are pissed off again. The feminists
Can't believe it.
to the internet are pissed off.
I can't hate this guy. I don't know what it is. Something about him just resonates with me, you know? It's like, I don't know. We got a connection here, you know?
Once more, this time their target is a man. You'll never believe what this man did. He
What'd he do?
dared to defend his wife's choice to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Meet Matt Walsh.
Piece of shit.
I will be defending him. Let me start by
Ugh.
saying
Ugh.
I don't even fucking like him. I
Okay, cool. Thankfully, I don't like him.
don't find him very interesting or informative. I read his site. Frankly, I found it banal.
Okay. Fair enough. 2011 TJ or whatever year this was. What year is this? At least I didn't full-throatedly... This is 2013 TJ. At least I didn't full-throatedly defend him. I'm like, he's a banal fucking idiot, you know? So, at least 2013 TJ knew that much. Hey, you know something? Look at my hairline. It's the same as it is now. You guys... Quit fucking making a big deal of this hairline shit. 2013 TJ had the same fucking hairline as I do. But his hair's blonder, I'll admit. I've definitely darkened.
This collective IQ.
You love that brick background? I can bring it back. I still got it. It's right over there. Well, it ain't perfect, but there it is.
I speak, of course, of the feminists. The Tumblr feminists in particular. So they're going after Matt Walsh because he wrote an article called, So You're a Stay-at-Home Mom? What do you do all day? In this article, he does nothing but defend his wife from criticism. This is basically just a guy writing a fucking big-ass article to suck up to his wife and fucking, like, jerk her off, basically. I'd like to read you guys an excerpt from this guy's article. The people who completely immerse themselves in the tiring, thankless, profoundly important job of raising children ought to be put on a pedestal. We ought to revere them and admire them like we admire rocket scientists and war heroes. These women...
How's your hair so much more blonde? I don't know. It's gotten darker over time. I don't know what to tell you. Like, as I've gotten older, my hair's gotten darker.
Women are doing something beautiful and complicated and challenging and terrifying and painful and joyous and essential. Whatever they are doing something, and our civilization depends on them doing it well. Who else can say such a thing? What other job carries with it such consequences? Yuck. Basically, right? I mean...
Yeah, pretty gross.
And to me, this sounds like something a feminist would write, not something a feminist would be upset about. I mean, first of all, he totally diminishes the role of men. Like, no, men can't be the supportive, nurturing, caring parent.
Well, of course, he's a traditionalist dipshit.
Only women in their...
So, really, I'm not defending this guy too much. It seems like I'm criticizing him pretty fucking strongly, too. I didn't really know what a giant, colossal bag of shit he was at the time. I just thought he was a banal nitwit. Rust in the pipes turns your hair... No, dude, listen, okay? This is just life, all right? Over time, my dad was the same way. You look at pictures of my dad when he was like in his 20s, he's got blonde hair. You look at him in his fucking 30s, it's darker. You look at him in his 40s, it's darker still. His hair got darker and darker. See, what's going to happen with this is eventually this is going to fucking turn like a dark gray. And that's going to be what the hair color I have, okay? It's called aging. It's not a big deal. It's fine. You're going to do it. Everyone here is going to do it, unless they die.
The greatest goddamn...
That's true. If I was out in the sun more, my hair would be blonder.
...damn thing to ever happen to this planet. And feminists are pissed off about it. Why?
Fucking feminists. I need to make some more anti-feminist videos. Do I? I don't need to. I probably said my piece. I'm not really... I mean, this would be interesting if I was finding things about my 2013 self that I profoundly disagree with, but I'm not. You should wake up tomorrow and begin a method acting level bit where you spend the next 10 years duplicating the same videos and content from 2010 on. You know, I feel like I did that for a while. I feel like for a while I tried to, like, I'm going to try to just emulate what I did at the height of my success. And then, you know, but then I'm, like, playing myself, trying to, like, play a younger version of me. And it's a weird thing, you know? It's like, I don't know. Feels weird, feels wrong. Don't feel right. Feels awkward and stupid and stilted and staged and full of artifice. Rather just be who the fuck I am and let the chips fall where the fuck they may, right? MJW379 gives 666, says a masterful oration. You've earned my vote, sir. Keep your breath on drama. Cenk Uygur is claiming he can beat Joe Rogan in a fight on Twitter. What? Hold up. Someone said, I'll make a $1,000 donation to your trash network or your charity of choice to see you call Joe Rogan, who is not only more successful podcast in history, but also a black belt in martial arts, a loser to his face. Deal. Easiest 1,000 I've ever made. You think he's going to assault me? Sure, whatever. That's incredibly dumb, but also wouldn't work. I'm much larger than Joe, and I've fought my whole life. I'd end him, but grown-ups don't do that. I'll send you a P.O. box. I mean, grown-ups also don't talk about how they'd end people. Like, you can't... See, the problem with what Cenk just did there is, like, he tried to take the high road and the low road simultaneously. You got to choose. You got to choose one of the two. I'll be honest with you. I've seen Joe Rogan. He's a little ass dude. He really is a little guy. Okay, I've been right across from him. I've fucking stood next to him and shook his hand and stuff, and he's a little ass guy. He's a trained martial artist, and I'm sure he's very tough, but he's a little guy, and he really is. And I mean, like, really, at the end of the day, little guys, you got to be honest with yourselves. You're little, okay? Maybe you're tough for your size, but at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Cenk Uygur actually maybe would stand a chance of kicking Joe Rogan's ass. I know it's unpopular. I know you guys here disagree with me on this. No, Joe Rogan. Because I know that, like, you guys are little guys yourselves, and you want to maintain this fantasy, like you kick a big guy's ass. I know it's a really appealing fantasy, but it's a fantasy, okay? You probably couldn't. Cenk is like whole inch taller than Joe. What? No, Cenk is taller. Cenk is like 6'2" or something, isn't he? Pretty sure Cenk pretty tall, man. 5'9"? No, never mind. Joe Rogan would kick his ass, dude. If he's really 5'9", Joe Rogan would fuck him up. If he was like 6'6" like me, maybe. But 5'9", nah. I'll fight Joe Rogan. I don't even have a problem with him. I don't know beef, but I'll fight him just to show the supremacy. I'll show you. I'll fight Joe Rogan just to prove the premise that a big, tall, out of shape guy can kick the shit out of a fucking 5'0" martial artist any day. I truly believe it. And if I'm wrong, let it be proven. Let it be proven in combat. Yeah, no, Joe Rogan would fuck Cenk up. I thought Cenk was taller than that. I thought Cenk was a big dude. I know he was some little fucking shrimp-ass motherfucker himself. What the fuck's he talking shit for? Joe Rogan would kick your ass, TJ. Speed and agility is more important size. I understand that a lot of people out there really want to believe that kind of nonsense, but no. It's absolutely untrue. Dude, I've had so many fucking little tough dudes in my fucking day come and try to fight me because they were like, I'm going to fucking kick the big guy's ass. And it's always pitiful, okay? I just fuck them up because I'm way bigger. I got way more mass. Like, just look at nature, okay? When two fucking elephant seals face off against each other, is it the fucking fastest one that survives? No, it's the biggest. Anytime in nature, the big guy against the little guy, big guy wins. Big guy always has the advantage. I'm sorry. It's just like me. If I came up against a guy that was fucking 7'2", I don't care. Maybe he could be like, he could be hobbled and I can barely walk. I don't care. I'm not fighting that guy because I know he can kick my ass because you know what? Size is the most important fucking thing. Bigger is tougher. Fact of life. I'm telling you, I don't care. I'll kick the fucking shit out of the goddamn featherweight champion of the world as a fat fucking rotund piece of shit. I don't give a fuck. I'll fuck him up. I'll fucking destroy him. You know why? Because I'm just bigger. I got more mass. I got more shit to throw around. He can throw, I got all this muscle. I throw a punch. I know how to throw a punch perfectly. I don't give a fuck. I'll just, I got the leverage. I got the weight. Would you beat Bruce Lee? Dude, I'd fuck Bruce Lee in the ass. I'd fucking destroy Bruce Lee. No problem. Be like, dead. Instant death. I know. You guys don't want to believe it. I know it's super appealing because you guys are not big like me. I know it's super appealing for you guys to want to believe this fucking fantasy that the little guy wins, but it's not true. All right, Tulsi Gabbard says something.
Someone who's been following the border disaster from day one, former Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, I'm just really disgusted with what the president said about those border agents on horseback. Everybody with a brain knows that there was no whipping of migrants.
There was like literally video evidence of them doing it. So what?
Going on. So what do you think's happening? Why is he saying that it did and threatening to punish?
Because it's true.
Jesse, the issue here, and I consider Joe Biden a friend, but he's absolutely wrong. And he needs to apologize to the American people for saying what he said. And here's why. You know, he's somebody who's been very outspoken as being against autocrats, autocracies, dictators. But what he essentially did was act as judge, jury, and executioner for these Customs and Border Patrol agents on horseback.
God, I hate this fucking cunt. Someone should whip her.
How can they expect to have any kind of fair outcome to an investigation when the President of the United States has already declared their...
There's video evidence, you stupid bitch. You literally see him on video doing it. It's not even hard to fucking see. They literally did it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the president says at that point. There's literally video evidence of them fucking doing it.
And the bigger issue here that this points to, which is one that we all need to be concerned about, is that if we are no longer a country of laws, if we are no longer a country where we know we will be presumed innocent unless proven guilty, then we don't have a democracy. And that's the increasing feeling that a lot of us have, is that we are losing our democracy and moving closer and closer to what essentially is an autocracy.
I'm friends with Joe Biden, but I have to say he's really taken us spiraling into the autocracy. You know what I'm saying? I just want to continue to be invited on Fox News. So I'm just going to say this ridiculous fucking horse shit because, you know, I want to be the good Democrat. These Republicans, man, they're fucking suckers for the good bad guy, aren't they? I hate black people. Except for Jesse Lee Peterson and Candace Owens. They're the only good blacks because they realize that blacks are shit. I hate Democrats, except for Tulsi Gabbard, because she's the only Democrat that tells the truth. Tulsi Gabbard is a fucking token bitch. She sucks ass, she sucks dick, she sucks fucking turds out of the ass of a fucking camel. I hate this cunt. I hate her fucking pandering to the soldiers and the troops. I hate her hyperbolic, oh, it's the end of civilization if we don't let men on horseback whip black people trying to fucking seek asylum. Fuck you, Tulsi Gabbard, you stupid cunt.
This is the same type of hoax that they use on police officers sometimes.
The police, you know, the police are absolutely... They're the most patient, tolerant, loving people, you know, and then every time a police officer just shoots an unarmed person for no good reason, it's like we gotta hear all this propaganda against them. Wah! Boo-hoo! Another one of these hoaxes fucking supported by video evidence of them doing the thing that the Democrats claim they did. Wah! Fuck you, bitch.
Where they take something out of context or they...
Oh, yeah, take it out of context. Here you see the police officer shooting an unarmed man with his hands up, begging not to die. But we're missing some crucial context, you guys. We're missing the crucial context before that. 25 fucking years before that. That very same perp one time did something bad. So, you know, ultimately, it all evens out. Who wants to come on Discord and talk to TJ? Joe Mama.
Yeah, wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, your mic sucks dick, though.
Sorry. Oh, let me try something else. Hear me now?
A little better.
Okay, cool. Hey, I'm a huge fan of your content for the past decade.
Cool.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Sorry.
Hey, it's okay. I'm an intimidating person. I'm fucking way smarter and better than you in every way, so it makes sense for you to be intimidated by me.
Yeah, you are units. So anyway,
I'm just fucking with you, okay? Don't fucking accept that as fact, okay?
I'm joking, man.
All right.
So anyway,
so what's up, man? What's on your mind?
What do you think about objectivity when it comes to art?
Objectivity when it comes to art. Okay. I'm really so this is an issue that really fucks with me, okay? It really does. And I'll tell you why it fucks with me. Cuz one part of my head is like art is subjective. There is you know, in no way is a stick figure better or worse than Starry Night by Van Gogh, right? Objectively speaking, there's no law of the universe, there's no objective fact that makes one better than the other.
Like 2 + 2 is objectively 4.
Yeah, 2 + 2 is 4, but stick figure is, you know, Van Gogh is better than stick figure drawer guy is not an objective fact. It's just not.
There's no way to measure it.
Then I think to myself, like, well, if I really accept that, I'm accepting that, you know, A Clockwork Orange is in no way objectively a better film than Beverly Hills Chihuahua 3. I'm just like, I can't do that because I know Clockwork Orange is fucking better. It just is. It has more artistry. The characters are better. Like, everything about it is fucking better. But I know that's not really true. It's just but I believe it to the core of me. So, I mean, I guess at this point, I'm saying it's a matter of faith. But I'll admit it's that. I admit that ultimately, the ultimate truth of the matter is that one thing is not superior to the other, but I will act as if it is because I'm not willing to live in a world where I can't say that movie's a piece of shit and that one's a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, subjective. For all things you can say that. Like,
I'm not willing to do it. I'm just not willing to do it. And if it's an intersubjective consensus, if it becomes an elitist thing where a movie is a masterpiece just because a bunch of snobs say it is, I don't know. There's a lot of it's really fucking weird, rough terrain for me because I want there to be objectivity in art, even though I know there isn't. And I think that's what we all want, is like our subjective opinions to have the weight of reality, but they don't. As much as we want them to, they just don't. I mean, it's hard to accept, and I haven't accepted it.
Accepted it.
What's that?
I kind of accept it. Like, I mean, I think I think Seven Samurai is like a better film than like the Transformers series, but like I don't think it's like written in stone. You know, there's no empirical data that supports it.
There never will be either. I mean, it's never going to happen. So,
speaking of, what do you think about plot holes making films objectively worse?
I don't buy it. I think that there's plenty of great films that have plot holes. I mean, look, Citizen Kane, widely regarded as one of the greatest films of all time, according to critics. I think when AFI did the top 100 films or whatever, Citizen Kane was number one. So like the people who claim to most deeply appreciate cinema have said Citizen Kane, best movie. I saw it. I thought it was pretty good. I think most people who see it can recognize there's a lot of fucking artistry that's gone into it, even if they don't necessarily like it. But that movie has a giant plot hole right at the fucking in the central premise. No one ever hears the fucker say Rosebud, so how is there all this curiosity about it? So I don't think a plot hole means shit. I think people who get stuck up on plot holes or act like pointing out plot holes is a legitimate form of criticism or just a bunch of fucking nitpicky dipshits. You are watching an edited down version of a full Abandon Hope episode. If you want to see the full episode of this Abandon Hope or of other Abandon Hopes, please join the Pessimist Productions Patreon linked below. There's also all kinds of other stuff there that you can watch and enjoy, so check it out. What's on your mind?
First of all, relax, everybody. I'm here. You can chill the fuck out now.
Everybody is now put at ease by the soothing presence of Mendacious Sea.
Yeah, no, listen, the question I have, and I think you've probably had to answer it a few times, but just in your experience.
Mm-hmm.
So some people, they're born into fucked up, weird, cultish families. They come from dumb parts of the world. Fine. How is it that some people who are relatively intelligent, they go through life, and then in their 20s or even 30s start believing in some fucking weird shit? Because I used to work with this flat earther who was a totally fucking normal dude. Then one day at 31 just goes, you know what? It's all a lie and the earth's flat.
You know, I feel like there's certain people out there, man, and you'd think they'd have the right circumstances in their life for them to be happy, for them to feel fulfilled, but something in their mind is just like, there's something missing out of my existence. There's something that there's a void that just nothing that I have now fills, and they go searching. And, sometimes they find this woo-woo shit like flat earth or, crystals or some stupid bullshit. And like, this is the answer. And they try to use that to fill this empty void inside of them. And it's just like, I don't know. We got to figure out something better for these people than to fall into the fucking hands of fucking idiots who lie to them. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because it's different on an individual basis, but usually I find it's just like somebody they're searching for meaning and they can't find it in their life, and they look elsewhere and they find a lot of times they find something fucking crazy. Now, some people, they find really good stuff. They like, I'm going to give to charity, or I'm going to help at the soup kitchen or something like that. And it's like, okay, yeah. But other people, it's like, the earth is flat, and anyone who says it's not is a lie. It's like, oh, shit. You've gone the wrong way.
I guess I did think that might be something, that might be it, but I just can't. I don't know. I just can't. It's one of the few things I can't empathize with.
I mean, you don't have to. I don't think you have to empathize. Look, I would never say that you should make because look, personal empathy a lot of times is a chore. It's very difficult to necessarily feel empathetic, especially people who do things that are just so idiotic or so outside of what you would do that you can't bring yourself to empathize with them, because it's like, what you're doing now is so fucking dumb. I could never empathize with it. But I think intellectually we have to recognize, look, if this person's acting this way, there's a reason. And that reason must have to do with some sort of thing inside them that was like, I don't feel fulfilled with what I have. I don't feel fulfilled with where I am. I don't feel fulfilled with the life I'm leading. And, I have to search elsewhere. And then they find and latch on to something that's fucking absolutely batshit insane. And, you and I probably have a lot of difficulty personally empathizing with it. But I think it is helpful for us, not just you and me personally, but as a society in general, to recognize that there must be something missing in this person's life. And we have to fucking figure out some way of addressing that before it gets to this point. Because, we don't want that in our society. We don't want people that are so compromised by irrational beliefs that they're willing to act in irrational ways. And to me, when someone's saying they're believing in flat earth, that's not just like, they're stupid. To me, that's like, this is a warning sign that they're fucked up. And the culture that spawned them is fucked up. Because that's not a rational position. They've lost their minds. They're insane, and if I'm around them, I'm tolerating insanity. So yeah, we got to do something. And I feel like most issues, we can deal with the fallout of it, but that's always just like Band-Aid, clean up the mess. We got to figure out what's underlying it. If we really want to fucking if you want to fucking kill the Hydra, you can't chop off the head. 2 heads grow. You got to fucking figure out what the heart of it is and plunge the fucking dagger in there, if you know what I mean.
What I've always found quite interesting is a lot of these, in my personal experience, a lot of these guys outside of that one belief lead real ordinary lives.
Yeah.
I always thought if I suddenly thought the Earth was flat and that there was a cabal of, I think reptilians is a bit outdated now. I think they've moved on to something else, but whatever. I feel like I'd sit in the basement and never come outside my house again. So I've always found it interesting, those people, how they can there's that duality there.
Look, a lot of times too, one thing that can be underlying a lot of this stuff, and I'm not thinking necessarily about flat earthers in this instance, but 9/11 truthers, for instance, 9/11 truth people. A lot of times I feel like they have a difficulty acclimating themselves to the random nature of reality and the fact that so many people died and, we were powerless to stop it. I think it's actually more comforting for them in a way to believe it was all part of some sinister plan, because then at least someone is in control. Someone has their hands on the steering wheel. They don't want to admit that there's hey, in a lot of ways, chaos reigns supreme. And 9/11, it's a perfect example. Some fucking crazy fucks can hijack a plane and crash it into a fucking building and kill thousands of people and change the entire country. And we're that vulnerable and that no one could stop it. No one did stop it. That's terrifying. It's actually less scary for them to believe must be the sinister shadow organization that controls everything. It was all part of someone's fucking plan, right? Someone intended for this to happen, surely. Nope. You're at the mercy of fucking cold and inhuman forces of nature that you can't possibly fucking bargain with. And a lot of people, that fact is so fucking terrifying that they'll believe anything to avoid it. But it's the truth.
It reminds me a little bit of, I forget, because no one really cares about the religious debate anymore, but there's that type of Christian that thinks everything's predetermined. That always kind of, it strikes me in a very similar way. It's a way to not take responsibility for anything.
Yeah. No, I mean,
what are those? Calvinists, yeah.
No, you're totally right. Like, there's a lot. I mean, people come up with all kinds of crazy things. Like, you know, when I hear these irrational beliefs, I always look at them from the terms of why does this person believe this?
Yeah.
Because like, if you get too caught up in like what the belief is, and you know, I do try to understand the belief and, you know, see it from their perspective and stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm really more interested in like, what's the underlying cause by this? What's like the self-interest that this person has in believing this? Because like, people believe irrational bullshit because they have some vested interest in believing irrational bullshit. No one just like, if you don't have some kind of weird, fucked up need inside of you to believe that the earth is flat, if that's not scratching some itch deep down within, you're never going to fall for it because it's fucking stupid. And everybody can see that it's stupid. And the only thing that gets around that instant reaction of what is if there's some fucking angle whereby you can be special. And for the flat earth, I've seen it. I watched a flat earth documentary on Netflix and I instantly knew what the fuck it was. Because all these guys are like, man, I know the truth, and these other idiots, they just don't get it. So it's like, oh, you don't feel special enough. Okay, you know the truth and no one else gets it. Okay. You're so much smarter than everyone else. You're so much smarter than fucking science. You're so misunderstood. And it's because, like, you know, they want to be Copernicus or something. I was on the cutting edge of really understanding the true nature of reality. And so they'll just lie to themselves. They'll lie to everyone else. Oh, the earth's flat. And, oh, I mean, look at all the evidence. If you see the earth from space, the only reason it looks round is because it's distorted by that lens, man. The lens fucking distorts it. You know? Yeah, it's just fucking silly, bro. All silly bullshit.
Well, no, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Cheers.
Thanks, man.